before starting a game of Microbrew, each player should take their own components. This includes 2 cards that make up the copper, 2 tokens for tracking money, and 2 worker meeples for selecting actions. The next step is to take all the light, medium and dark malt tokens and place them inside the tin. You'll notice at this point the green hop tokens are kept aside. You will then close the tin and shake the tin, which will randomise all of the malts. The third step is for all players to fill their coppers. To do this, each player will take the tin and without looking, so I suggest maybe putting the tin under the table, they will take a single malt token and place this on the copper. And you'll notice that you fill the copper up from bottom to top, left to right. Be aware that at this point the tank at the side of the copper is not filled. The fourth step is to prepare the action area for both players by taking these 2 cards and placing them alongside each other. You will also at this point take a Brewmaster token, which is the large white token, and you will place this on the manage space. The next step is to take the large deck of customer cards, identifiable by the beer bottle on the back, and shuffle these. You will then draw one and place that face up next to the copper for each player. This is your first loyal customer. You will then take the remainder of the deck and set it aside on the table, and you will then reveal 2 more customers face up next to the deck. These are thirsty customers at the start of the game, and you will need to satisfy these requirements in order to make them loyal. The next step is to take all 3 types of recipe card and shuffle them together to form one large deck. After shuffling, each player will be dealt 1 recipe card face down. The players may look at this card at this point, but it must be kept secret. You will then take the remaining recipe cards and set the deck aside, and you will then reveal the next 3 cards face up on the table. You will then take the small deck of reputation cards that can be identified by the 3 globes on the back and the middle here, and you will deal 1 face up on the table next to the customers and the recipes. Bearing in mind that this is a victory condition for the end of the game that will count as another loyal customer. Following this, each player should be secretly dealt 2 reputation cards. Players are allowed to look at the reputation cards at this point, but they must remain hidden. Also, each player should be aware that at the end of the game, one of these reputation cards can be selected to score and will count as another loyal customer if the condition has been met. You then will take any remaining reputation cards and set them aside without looking at them. These will not be used during this game. Each player now must take 1 single green hop token and replace that with any malt token in their copper. It is recommended that new players choose 1 from the middle row to begin the game. Players should then take any replaced malt token and add it to the remaining hops, and then these should all be returned to the tin. Each player should then take their third meeple and a hop upgrade token and set this next to the action board. Finally, one player should be given the Your Turn card, which will indicate who will be taking the first turn. This can be determined randomly, or could be the last person who visited a brewery, or who drank a beer, or anything like that. As compensation for going second, the other player is then allowed to take one more reputation card and look at this along with the two that they were dealt during setup. They then can select two from the three and return the one that they don't want to the deck, and then it will be shuffled back in. You are now ready to begin playing Microbrew.